Nobody thought it would work. Not the critics. Not the fans. Not even some of the people involved. A reboot of a beloved 80s TV show turned into a buddy cop comedy? That alone felt like a stretch. But then, they made a sequel. A sequel to a reboot. It sounded like Hollywood pushing its luck, again. And yet, 22 Jump Street didn't just work. It exploded. It went on to make over $331 million worldwide, breaking all kinds of expectations and some rules along the way. But how did this happen? What made this unlikely comedy rise from doubt to domination? Let's rewind a bit. Back in the 1980s, 21 Jump Street was a serious, gritty TV drama. It gave Johnny Depp his big break. The show followed young-looking undercover cops infiltrating high schools to catch criminals. It was edgy. It was intense. And it was not funny. Fast forward to 2012. When news hit that 21 Jump Street was getting a film reboot, people were confused. Even more so when it was announced as a comedy starring Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum. Comedy? Really? It felt like a joke. But that was the beauty of it. The first film didn't take itself too seriously. It knew the idea was ridiculous. It leaned into the absurdity and flipped the original show on its head. The chemistry between Jonah and Channing was electric, unexpected, yet genuine. That film turned out to be a surprise hit. It made over $200 million globally. It was fast, funny, and completely self-aware. And that was enough to warrant a sequel. Still, making a follow-up to a rebooted comedy? That's where things usually go wrong. But 2014's 22 Jump Street broke the mold. Once again, people were skeptical. Could lightning strike twice? Could these two oddball characters still carry a whole movie? Would the joke still be funny the second time around? Turns out, it was even funnier. The brilliance of 22 Jump Street lay in how it knew it was a sequel and made fun of itself for it. From the very first scene, it practically looked into the camera and said, "Yeah, we're doing the same thing again, just with a bigger budget." And somehow, that worked. It didn't try to reinvent the wheel. It just made the wheel spin faster and louder. Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum returned with even more confidence. Their bromance was stronger, sillier, and more heartfelt than ever. Watching them was like seeing two completely opposite people somehow meet in the middle and create magic. Hill, the quirky and neurotic overthinker. Tatum, the athletic, clueless golden boy. Together, they played off each other with effortless timing. You could tell they were having fun. And it made us have fun too. But this wasn't just about jokes and action scenes. There was something deeper hiding underneath the laughs. This movie wasn't afraid to get personal. It showed insecurity. Self-doubt. The awkwardness of growing apart from someone you care about. It was a buddy cop movie, about emotional maturity. About realizing that relationships, platonic or not, require work. And all of that? Wrapped inside a wild, explosion-filled college adventure. There were parties. Car chases. Undercover stings. Ridiculous disguises. And yet, through all the chaos, it never lost its heart. And then, there was Icecube. His role as Captain Dixon was already a highlight in the first movie. But in 22 Jump Street, he was unleashed. One of the film's most hilarious and raw scenes comes when he finds out his daughter is dating one of the officers. What follows is a masterclass in comedic rage. And it became instantly iconic. Audiences loved it. Critics, surprisingly, praised it. The box office soared. 22 Jump Street made over $331 million, more than the first film by far. And what's more, it did it with heart. It wasn't just another dumb sequel. It was a smart parody of dumb sequels. The movie ended with a montage of fake future sequels: 23 Jump Street, Medical School, 24 Jump Street, Culinary School, 25 Jump Street, Semester at Sea. It poked fun at itself and at Hollywood's endless need for more. And fans adored that honesty. So how did a film nobody believed in become one of the most successful comedies in history? Because it dared to laugh at itself. Because it found strength in two actors who seemed mismatched, but ended up being perfect together. Because it turned doubt into power and used it as fuel. The legacy of 22 Jump Street isn't just its box office numbers. It's how it broke the rules of sequels by embracing them. It was in on the joke. It invited the audience to be in on it too. And maybe, just maybe, that's why we still talk about it today. In a world where reboots and sequels often fall flat, 22 Jump Street reminded us that comedy can be clever. That friendship on screen can be genuine. And that sometimes, the best stories come from the most unexpected places. So the next time someone says a movie reboot doesn't stand a chance, remember this one. Because nobody believed in 22 Jump Street. Not in the concept. Not in the cast. Not in the idea of turning a serious 80s drama into a buddycop college comedy. It sounded like a swing and a miss. A punchline without a setup. But what happened next? Nobody saw it coming. Because not only did 22 Jump Street prove the doubters wrong. It made us laugh. It made us cheer. And somehow, through all the chaos, the silliness, and the explosions, it even made us feel something. It tapped into a strange and beautiful truth. That when you stop trying to be what people expect, and start embracing the ridiculous, honest version of who you are, that's when the magic happens. Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum didn't just act. They showed up with something real. Their friendship wasn't perfect. It was weird, unbalanced, and messy. But that's why we connected with it. Because real friendships are like that. They evolve. They get tested. They go through awkward phases. And sometimes, you drift. You don't want to. But life gets in the way. And suddenly, the person who felt like your other half feels like a stranger. 22 Jump Street turned that quiet heartbreak into comedy. And somehow, it made us laugh at our own growing pains. It said, yeah, growing up is weird. Yeah, relationships take work. Yeah, second chances are scary. But it also reminded us that if we're willing to fight for our connections, if we can learn to laugh through the tension, we just might find something stronger on the other side. This wasn't just a sequel. It was a celebration. A celebration of friendship. Of second shots. Of poking fun at Hollywood, while secretly loving it. And that's why people kept coming back to theaters. Not just for the jokes. Not just for the wild action. But because they saw themselves somewhere in that madness. That awkward moment when you realize you're changing. And you're scared your best friend might not change with you. That tension of wanting to be independent. But also terrified of being alone. And somehow, this movie, a comedy sequel, held all of that. So when it crossed $331 million at the global box office, it wasn't just about the money. It was proof. Proof that sincerity still matters. That comedy can still have soul. That two wildly different people on screen and off can create something unforgettable when they trust each other. It became one of the rare comedy sequels that didn't just succeed. It elevated everything that came before. And honestly, that kind of win feels good to root for. Because all of us, at some point in our lives, have been told we wouldn't make it. That we didn't belong. That we weren't enough. And when a movie like 22 Jump Street comes along, a movie that wasn't supposed to work, but did, it gives us hope. Hope that we can rise above the noise. Hope that we can find our people. Hope that it's okay to be weird, loud, emotional, or lost. Because sometimes, the underdog wins. And when they do, it's a victory for all of us. So the next time you think you're not built for the sequel, remember this story. Remember the oddball comedy that outshined expectations. Remember the mismatched duo who somehow made perfect sense. Remember the movie that laughed in the face of doubt. And then laughed all the way to the bank. Because nobody believed in 22 Jump Street. Until it made us laugh. Until it made us cry. Until it made us cheer. All the way to $331 million. And more importantly, it made us believe again. Thank you so much for spending time with us here at buzzstate. If this story moved you even a little, if it reminded you of a friendship you cherish, or a dream you thought might not be possible, know that you're not alone. And we'll keep bringing you more stories like this. Stories that entertain. That surprise. That remind us of the heart behind the Hollywood spotlight. This video was created for entertainment and educational purposes, using AI-generated voice and media to help bring the story to life. If you enjoyed this journey with us, we'd love to have you join the buzzstate family. Please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and tap that bell icon so you'll always be the first to hear stories that matter. Stories that make you smile. That make you think. And every now and then, make you believe in the impossible. Until next time, stay curious, stay inspired, and stay connected. This is buzzstate.